Hey everybody, just wanted to make a quick video talking about Maple, Arc, and what I plan to do next. As you may have seen from my most recent upload, I am back to actively playing this game again. Destiny patch has actually proved itself to be quite the nice gameplay loop, and I'm very fond of it, and I can see myself playing it for a while. I am excited to be playing again, reconnecting with some friends, new and old. A lot of people are coming back to the game. It's been super dope. A lot of people I haven't talked to in years. That said, I also want to talk about the elephant in the room that is my arc. I've been liberated for about over a year now, and at this point that character has remained quite stagnant since then. A lot of my old hangups with the game still exist, despite clearing bosses on a weekly basis, despite quitting for other things and hobbies. I still have not received a single pitch boss drop in that year. Dream belts don't count, obviously. I did drunkenly tap my arcanes to 22, shoutouts to Colic, by the way, with the exception of my shoulder over the new year. And I did have plans to eventually finish it along with some other aspects of my account, such as Legion, Oz Rings, whatever. But since coming back to the game and paying a bit more attention to the meta, I've come to find that Arc is just in an incredibly dissatisfying place right now. What was once a good class now finds itself in a very lackluster position in the meta, with the rest of the classes receiving really good changes over the years, and the player base itself getting better at the game, and Arc has received absolutely nothing since then. To get a bit more into it, the design around Arc just puts itself in a spot that I feel like makes it very hard to approach balance-wise. The class has an incredible burst output that lets it stay competitive with other burst-oriented classes, but its overall damage output in the long term is just very, very poor. And it's because of its 4-minute cooldown and infinity spell. Now, despite a 3-minute meta, other 4-minute classes find themselves doing quite well still. Hero, Hayato, Kana before it got pushed in Destiny, to name a few. So why does Arc's 4-minute class or cooldown fail where others succeed? It's because the class is designed with the 4-minute cooldown in mind. And because it's designed from the ground up, it's destined to fail, I think. Unlike Hero, Hayato, or Kana, Infinity Spell was something that Arc was balanced around in terms of its numbers, its other abilities, and the rest of its tuning. All the class's power profile and balance tuning is just, it's anchored to that one ability. Other classes that have 4-minute cooldowns already had existing class identities and balance anchors, and were literally just probably given 4-minute cooldowns as kind of coincidence. Not coincidence, but the inclusion of their 4-minute cooldowns doesn't really change those class identities. Hero was already a very popular class in KMS before they got Combo Instinct. It was very good, solid, consistent damage output, and Combo Instinct just made them even more insane without really changing the playstyle. Same thing with Hayato and Kana. They already had very solid and specific class identities, and with their abilities, and then the inclusion of Sakuna's Blessing doesn't really change much to that, other than giving them more damage. Arc's front-loaded damage in its burst and the remainder of Infinity Spell's duration, the 100-second duration, is very nice, and it is satisfying, but as a player further pushes into the end game, the differences in cooldowns becomes a lot more noticeable. In party play, you generally sync up and burst together centered around cooldowns like Domain or Benediction. With the majority of classes containing all of their bursts on a 3-minute cycle, it leaves you with two options. A 2 and 4-minute cycle, where you burst every 4 minutes in an attempt to include your 4-minute classes, and you make all the other 3-minute classes wait an extra minute. Or a 3-minute cycle, where you're basically just popping everything off cooldown, and your 4-minute classes are forced to just, burst outside the group. Obviously, where I'm at in the game, I'm not going to sit and pretend that I'll ever have trouble getting into parties to do content because of stuff like this. It's never come up as a point of contention, but it certainly doesn't feel good when everyone's bursting at 3 and you're bursting at 4 without any support. In solo play, the difference in class cooldowns is it's even more noticeable. Arc's middling damage off of burst leaves a lot to be desired, and your window of effective damage is generally fucked in most bosses, especially ones that can sabotage your burst windows. Arc in particular, with the removal of damage cap and the final damage changes, Abyssal Recall becomes an important ability, but it eats up 10 seconds of you know, 10 seconds of your burst window and 10 seconds of your bind window, where the final payoff, or the big explosion, that's the bulk of the damage. And with only a 10-second bind, if you don't time anything properly, there are some bosses that can literally just straight up disappear or iframe, and like your burst is fucked and it doesn't feel good. Yeah, and like with the current content that's available and left for me to do on my arc, it's basically Black Mage solo or pushing Dojo. You know, without even getting into how fucked Dojo is for arcs. You know, spoiler alert, it's super fucked. Basically, I'm put in a position where if I do want to push for a Black Mage solo, I'm very close. But I basically need to get a new set of Oz rings. I could push and double prime some gear, or I get pitch boss. While on my return to the game, I've reconciled with the fact that Oz is super important, and I don't mind running the tower anymore. It's actually kind of fun these days. That's still like, it could take me, you know, months, weeks, right, to even get good Oz rings. I've seen some people go like 4 million points without getting the ring that they want, and it's kind of fucked. I know they made it better since then, but you know, it's still pretty difficult. Like ultra min-maxing and double priming gear and like potentials and stuff, you know, like I've worked on my gear pretty hard, but I'm still firm in my beliefs that, you know, going for that super ultra level of min-max with like the money required and time required, I think is like a waste of fucking time, and I'm not interested in doing it. And I think most other people that try to do it are a fool for doing it. And you know, pitch boss is what it is, right? I've been clearing for 4 years and I haven't seen shit. Meanwhile, other people who've been clearing for 2 have like anywhere from 3 to 4 set plus. You know, it is what it is. Basically, if you were too lazy to watch, Arc is in a shit position. I will not be playing it anymore, with the exception of weekly bossing, and I'll be focusing on my Shadower from now on. Shadower is a super fun class. I've been enjoying it ever since I started and came back again. My most recent video was a hard Lotus solo that I did at 23k stat. You know, that's kind of fucking cool. The class is really good. It ticks a lot of the boxes for me. Very high APM, a lot of tools, very mobile, incredibly good class. I think, honestly, I wouldn't hesitate to say that it's the best class in the game. There is a sliver of hope for Arc in the August KMS balance update. I'll basically be waiting room for that, but I'm gonna keep my expectations low. I don't think I can expect too much out of that. You know, but you know, fingers crossed, right? But I'm back on Maple because, you know, Destiny's dope, my friends are dope, and Shadow is really, really fun. I'll still have like a burning hole in my heart for how poorly everything on my arc went up to this point, and I kind of want to pretend that none of it ever happened. But yeah, that's that. I'm back in the game, and I'll see you guys in Reboot. Cheers.